Hi everyone, this is Carrie from the Dark Modiste. I'm really excited to share with you how to put on and take off bodices. So coming out of the package, the bodice looks like this. You've got two straps, each of them are about a yard, gives you plenty of length to work with to adjust, and then you have lacing all the way down the front. You got a lot of it, and there's a reason for that. Try not to cut that lacing. I know you're probably going to want to. You can undo all of this, and then I'll show you how to slowly loosen it so that way it makes it easier to slip it on over your head. Before I actually undo the front lacing, I'm going to take off this nice handy little tag. You may or may not want to keep that. It's totally up to you. It does show your size on there. This is another way you can adjust your bodice to your wonderful shape. I'm going to leave this as is for now, but it still can be loosened. And I'm going to keep this one tight as well, because if I put this on, it'll immediately try and come off, and I don't want that. Now when you get this, it's going to be all tied up like this, and you'll undo it. It's going to give you all of your wonderful lacing length. It might tangle up a little bit, but the wonderful thing about this compared to ribbon is it's easy to untangle. This is probably in a double knot. Undo it, untie this, untie that square knot, and then you're going to start loosening this. I'm pulling that first cross section all the way until you get to those first two knots. Throw it over my shoulder. Usually I do this on a table or a bed or a chair or wherever's a flat surface. I go to the second cross and I pull and pull and pull until there's about that much length. I'll throw that over my shoulder. And I do the same thing again. Now, I want the most length. Most of them are going to be even, but I want the most length at the very bottom one. And that's because we tend to be pretty wide at our shoulders, and that's what this has to go over first. Once it's all loosened, you can put your arms through the bottom and go. Isn't that kind of satisfying? Now that you have your lacing loosened, you're going to put your arms through that bottom part. Make sure you have your arms going through the straps. It's okay if they come undone and flop out. Totally fine. If you have glasses, take those off. If you have a hair clip, take that off too. It's probably going to get caught. Scoop this over your head. And you're going to shimmy this over you. You're in it. Now for the fun part, lacing this up. You're going to start from the bottom. You'll see at the very bottom, there is a knot in the middle. That's going to make sure that you don't have one string longer than another at any given point. So you're just going to start pulling at the bottom. Then the next crisscrosses, again, you're pulling from the bottom of the crisscross. Here's the next crisscross here. I'm gonna take this and pull from the bottom. And I'm not pulling too hard, and there's a reason for that. You may want to immediately just tighten yourself up. This isn't a corset. A bodice is meant to support and lift a little, but we're not gonna do that quite yet. Okay, then my next cross section, pull. Now I'm going to take my top loops, pull those through. Okay, before I tighten this any further, I am going to adjust my chest. I'm just going to lift up a little bit, and what I'm doing is I'm adjusting my space around here. What that did is it lifted where I am moving within the bodice, And now I can pull this tighter. Since this is a brand new bodice, I'm still not going to tighten this as much as I could because these boning pieces need to get seasoned. What does seasoned mean? Well, that means they need to get used to the curves of my body, and that takes some time. All right, I'm going to adjust again because I can get this a little tighter, but I am going to tie this first. I'm going to adjust my shirt. So when we adjust straps, you can see here that you'll never have to deal with the strap on the top. That's pretty anchored in. The two end pieces go through the back of the grommet to the front, and then I split them up. They each go around the back, forward to the front. Here's where I will tighten it. Goes back around the front, and I do one little knot. This is where you can decide one of two things. You can either make a nice little bow. Look how pretty that can be. Or if you're like me, where that bow is going to drive you nuts within about 10 minutes, you can make another knot and then you can tuck it right in. Completely up to you. So this side is a little too tight for me, so I'm going to loosen it up just a smidge. There we go. I'm going to make that double knot, tuck it on in, and now I'm going to finish with the rest of this. You can see I can get a lot closer here. This part's very loose. Here we go. Now I'm going to make it a lot tighter. Here. But again, not too tight because I still need to let the boning season. Now, see how much more length I got out of that? Crazy. As I move around throughout the day, this is going to adjust to my body. My body is going to adjust to the bodice, and I'll be able to tighten this probably within the hour if I wanted to. Now, what do I do with all of this? I'm going to make sure that I double knot this bow. Then I take the length of all of this extra lacing, fold it up. You don't want to bunch it up. You don't want to round it in a little circle. And then pick a side and tuck it in. This will disappear. It's pretty cool. And there we go. We've put on a bodice. There it is in the back. You can adjust your skirt a little bit if you wanted to. You can adjust your shirt if you needed to. But you're done. You have a wonderful bodice, ready to go to a party or a run fair.